Bitcoin has had a rough couple of weeks, but it's important to know that this is actually fairly normal for Bitcoin. We've seen some pretty large drawdowns even in bull markets, and this kind of price action that we're seeing right now is not really any different. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and break down what is going on with the Bitcoin price, where I think it's going to be heading next, and then also what I've been up to. So Bitcoin has been falling. It has actually found very nice support here at 100. I've drawn in this support line. This support line I've kept intact for the past couple of videos that I've done, and it's easy to see here that it's found that same support level that it went back to in June. The fact that it hasn't broken that support yet is actually a really good thing. However, if it does break this 100K support, then we could potentially be looking at a trip all the way down to the 90s, maybe even the low 90s. I think that that's probably something that if it happens, it'll be a very quick move. It'll be something that'll be bought up very quickly, like down here, for instance, and then it will probably rebound if that happens. Now, one of the reasons why Bitcoin is falling is because of the fact that the sell signal is still in place here. We have to respect that sell signal. Over the past couple of videos, I've talked about what this means. On the super trend indicator, having it on the daily, Bitcoin will tend to go lower until it doesn't, okay? Until it crosses this 114 level, until it closes above this level and this flips to a buy, then the super trend will continue to indicate the fact that Bitcoin is in a selling pattern right now, and it will continue to move lower, okay? So you generally have to have a shock, a supply shock, a move to the upside in order to regain the momentum that Bitcoin has lost over the past couple of weeks, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, in regards to Bitcoin, finding support here at 93K, I honestly do not think that we're going to move below this 93K level in the near term. I think that we'll actually wind up sticking around support. If we lose support a little bit, then we'll probably go down a little bit into the 90s, but then that's when the buyers are going to step in, and then we're going to see a rebound from there. Now, it's important to know that Bitcoin just doesn't move in one direction forever. Eventually, we're going to wind up seeing a rebound in the price. Now, another reason why Bitcoin has been down is because you're having more cascading liquidations on the long side here. For instance, on the 2nd and the 3rd of November, you had $300 and $500 million worth of long liquidations happen. Back on the 5th of November, you had another $200 million worth of long liquidations, and these continue to hammer the Bitcoin price, with these longs being basically blown up and forced to sell because they are heavily leveraged. And this is something that we continue to see. Eventually, the leverage in the system is going to run out. The longs basically will not be able to continue to leverage themselves in the system, and the Bitcoin price will stabilize. Now you can see here, compared to the NASDAQ 100 over the last month, Bitcoin has not done well. It is decoupled completely from the NASDAQ, for better or for worse here. Now you can even see, however, over the last 5 days, NASDAQ's down 4%. Bitcoin is down about the same 4%. And what's interesting about that is that means that investors in general, in both tech stocks, AI stocks, and in crypto, have been getting worried, particularly over the shutdown, over tariffs, over the giant wall of worry, the terrible volatility this time of year. There's a number of reasons why we saw Bitcoin sell off over the last month. The primary reason why Bitcoin has sold off, though, is because of the AI trade and this rotation that we're seeing, the sector rotation into AI stocks. Looking at the NASDAQ, NASDAQ is basically flat on the month while Bitcoin is down almost 16%. The simple fact is that these investors have been selling the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Taking a look at the spot ETF tracker, you can see the incredible outflows we've had over the last couple of weeks. We had another $1.22 billion worth of outflows for the Bitcoin spot ETFs, and they've been buying AI stocks. They've been rotating out. They've been buying AI stocks. They've been buying the tech stocks, and they've left crypto in the dust. This is a very similar rotation to what we saw earlier in the year call it about February, March or so. We had that rotation. However, that was more to safety stocks rather than AI specifically. But this goes back to the point that Bitcoin normally has these 15 to 20% drawdowns. We saw that back in April. We saw that back in March. And they're for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with Bitcoin. Back then, it was tariffs, the tariff mania. That caused Bitcoin to fall all the way down to 76K. This time, however, we're seeing a little bit of the drama and the shutdown fight in the US, and also some tariffs, uncertainty, general market uncertainty, and the volatility for this time of the year. That's the reason why we're seeing Bitcoin sell off so much. Take a look at the Fear and Greed Index. We can see here 20 on extreme fear for the crypto price, okay, for Bitcoin here. Now, what's interesting about this is that this is the lowest that we've seen going all the way back to April, okay? You can go ahead and take a look at there. April 9th of 2025, again, right in the middle of the tariff panic, okay? Right in the middle of all that nonsense, Bitcoin fell. And then Bitcoin, after this point, would rebound and go all the way back up to the 72 level, which is around greed. And that only took about a month or a couple of weeks. So it's interesting to point out that even though the momentum right now is to the downside, this can very easily turn and then flip, and then things can move back to the upside, all right? Now, another reason why we've seen Bitcoin have an absolutely terrible past couple of months is because of the seasonality. So normally, October and November are good months for Bitcoin, except when you have a couple of red months. Actually, you tend to see an acceleration of declines for these red months, like back in 2018, where you had 5 straight months of Bitcoin declines. Okay, so this year hasn't been that bad, but you had basically 3 out of the 4 last months have been red for Bitcoin. So these are really, this is nothing new for Bitcoin. If you've been in Bitcoin for a while, these kind of drops are things that you just get used to. Okay, now another thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin metrics from Durabit, the Bitcoin options set to expire on the 14th of November. That's this Friday upcoming. You can see here that we have about $3.7 billion worth of open interest and options set to expire. And what we're seeing for this is the max pain price at about 106, okay, which is above currently where Bitcoin is right now. The put to call ratio at 0.66, meaning that traders are short term, actually fairly bullish. And this basically means that we're going to wind up seeing, I would say, a moderate amount of volatility. We're probably going to see the Bitcoin price try to recover a little bit, heading towards 106 before Friday, but don't be surprised if we continue to fall a little bit further. Now, long term, Bitcoin is still set up for an absolutely monster rally. Just because we're having a little bit of short-term volatility right now, it doesn't really impact the long-term story of Bitcoin. And in fact, we're still holding that 100K region. Now, I wouldn't really be surprised if Bitcoin, as long as it holds this 100K, eventually, within, let's say, the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, will regain the previous all-time high and, in fact, set a new all-time high. And one of the reasons for that is because of the liquidation leverage currently on exchanges. You have here the exchange liquidation map, and the exchange liquidation map shows you on the short side how much liquidity there is, and on the long side how much liquidity there is. Now, on the short side, you can see that we're up to $10 billion worth of short liquidation. The shorts have been rolling in it. They've been increasing their positions. They've been constantly moving higher and higher and higher. They've been gaining a lot of, they've been taking a lot of profits over Bitcoin's decline over the last couple of weeks. Now, on the other side, the long side, there's only about $3 billion or so of this long liquidation leverage. Now, on the short side, we could see potentially more explosive growth if Bitcoin can just show a little bit of momentum. In fact, if you go all the way up here to about 106, which is what I talked about before, right, for that Ironically enough, for that max pain price, that's $3 billion of short liquidation leverage. Okay, so $3 billion worth of shorts would be liquidated. If Bitcoin can climb all the way back to just 115,000, that's $10 billion worth of short liquidation leverage that could potentially propel Bitcoin to the next level. I mean, you could wind up seeing an absolutely explosive move to the upside, okay? But that's only if Bitcoin can regain that 115K region. Now, again, this is all short term, right? But we need to go back to the long term. The long term is you have whales that continue to stack, such as the Mr. 100 wallet that continues to buy Bitcoin almost every single day, multiple times, in fact, per day, stacking a massive amount of Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin. Very nice DCA going on here. This whale wallet does not care, frankly, about the short-term volatility. They're just taking advantage of the fact that, hey, I could have bought Bitcoin, under 100K. There's a couple times in the week you could have bought Bitcoin under 100K, and this whale wallet has been adding almost every single day of about 100 billion of about 100 Bitcoin per day. And then you have also Strategy raising $715 million to buy more Bitcoin. Okay, so they had another series, another preferred share offering, and now they've raised this $715 million to buy additional Bitcoin. Okay, so that's just an example of a couple whales. I'd consider Michael Saylor and Strategy definitely a whale, and then this guy, Mr. 100, who is the number 10 largest Bitcoin wallet in existence. All right, I've been increasing my IBIT position. I've been staying the course. Okay, I have not been selling. I've been holding. I've been waiting patiently, okay, for Bitcoin to drop below 100K again. And if we do see that drop below 100K and we head down to the 90s, you better bet your butt that I will be buying more Bitcoin, okay? Because this right here, this is all short term. We are not at the end of the Bitcoin bull market. We are not at the end of the Bitcoin bull cycle. This is just another bump in the road. Remember, it's not just straight up and to the right. There's a lot of bumps in the way. There's a lot of people who get washed out, who basically have glass hands and then immediately regret their decision. But let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know if you guys are still holding, if you've decided to sell, if you decided to take some profits. Are you out of the market because we saw Bitcoin go below 100K? I'm definitely interested in hearing about that. Leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.